If I was able to go back in time to like 18-year-old or even 17-year-old version of myself when I was working my first few jobs, I would be so serious with telling him the very simple fact that you have to be very cautious and be very like opportunistic about the time that you spend outside of your job, aka your 5 to 9. Now, just like any teenager in high school, I was kind of just working these little dead-end jobs, hoping to make a little bit extra money so I can enjoy some of my time outside of or even in high school. But when you are actually looking back on those years and you kind of reflect as you get older, you begin to realize that even if you spent maybe just an hour after school trying to build something for yourself, maybe it was content creation, maybe it was entrepreneurship, maybe it was learning a new skill, you could put yourself ahead so many years, so many like decades even. Decades might be a little bit extreme, but you can put yourself ahead by a large amount because you already have that solid built momentum that you kept building up after every shift that you worked at your job. Because at the end of the day, a job is a job. Sometimes you might have to work one job, sometimes you might have to work two, sometimes even three. Like, I don't know exactly what your position could be right now if you're already working these jobs, but you might have to work one at some point in your life, and you have to be very serious about the time that you spend outside of that job if you're trying to build something for yourself. And if you're somebody who's on the younger side, like maybe 17 to 21, you already know that this is very pivotal for you to do because you're already going to see yourself kind of slipping into the consciousness of not really treating your time outside of your job as an important skill and asset because outside of your job, you can do whatever you want. This is your time now. Right now, I'm in my bedroom. If I wanted to, I could lay down, I could watch TV, I can play video games, I can do all these different things. And there really isn't anything to stop me because I don't have a boss in my room with me, right? Unless you're living with somebody, then there you go. Include that as well, I guess. But essentially, I no longer have a controlling source or a controlling figure to tell me what I can and can't do, which means I can completely waste this time, but I could also make this the best time and the best opportunity for myself to get myself ahead. Now, to an extent, younger me already kind of knew this, and he already kind of knew that if I wanted to build anything serious for myself, I had to use the time that I had to myself, that I could use for myself to build those things. But I don't think I ever took it to the extreme that I think I really needed to, because looking back on it, if I started at maybe like 17 to 18 years old and I just decided that every hour that I spent outside of my job was going to be dedicated to building myself into a better version, I would be so much farther ahead, not only by this age, but in the next coming years, because I would already have all this built up momentum that would stack up over time that would end up making me into the person that I needed to be come that time. And the reason I think it's so hard to do this, especially when you're younger, is because it takes a certain level of not caring about what people think or how people may perceive you for doing this. Now, if you live with family or maybe you're around like a lot of friends, you saying you don't want to do anything that isn't really getting you closer to where you want to be can come off as very, pretentious. It can come off as very like aggressive and mean, like, oh man, you're telling you don't want to hang out with me, you don't want to hang out with us. But you're looking at it from the perspective of, if I can just dedicate the next few 3 to 5 years of my life just working and building this thing, I'm gonna be so good. You know what I mean? Like, I'll always be thankful that I did it looking back on it, compared to wasting my time, maybe not even wasting my time, but not always utilizing it as much as I could, and then having a question like, man, if I just worked a little bit harder and was a lot more serious with my time, where would I be at in 5 years, right? Where would I be at in like 10 years? Like, the idea that time is going to pass regardless and it is up to you to decide what you do with it is so powerful, and it's so important that you utilize and understand that when you're young, because if you don't, you're going to end up like a lot of people that say that their job is taking everything away from them, that their current life obligations are taking everything away from them because they didn't utilize the time where nobody needed them, nobody was really depending on them, and they had so much more free time to themselves. Now, like I already said, because you're choosing to move in this life with a lot more aggression and energy, people are going to treat you a certain way when you say you don't want to always hang out with them or always do certain things. They're going to say things like you're very selfish, you're very self-centered, and to an extent, you kind of are, because this is your life. I mean, you only get one of these, and your youth is even shorter than your actual lifespan as a whole. So you're really trying to utilize it to the best of your ability to get yourself ahead and build a better life for yourself. But sometimes when you're doing that, it's going to be perceived a certain way. And I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this and you're really young, like maybe you're in your teens, maybe you're in your late teens, early 20s, it is going to be really hard to face this, because it might come off as like betraying certain people that you might be close to. But if they don't understand it, then that just means they may not 100% see what you're trying to do or what you're trying to build. And I think you have to be willing to accept that as a reality going forward. Because while a lot of these people will tell you that you need to be serious about your time, you need to use it wisely, you need to not do stupid things that could end up wasting time or wasting energy, they will say all of these things until it applies to you having to cut them out of that time. Now it's like, okay, well, hold on, slow, wait, what you mean taking me out too? Well, what, that's crazy. So you have to be willing to accept that that's going to be a reality at times. Maybe your family, maybe your friends, maybe, you know, your significant other. I'm not saying you should like count them out, by the way. Don't take this as like a, yeah, F all of them. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you know you have very big things to do and you have very big ambitions, or you just want to build something a little bit more for yourself, you gotta be willing to low-key just be like, yo, this time is precious. Like, this is all I got. I need to utilize this. And I'm even doing this right now as I'm filming this video. I literally just got off work. I'm fresh off work, just got in the door, and I'm trying to film this video, trying to take care of some other things I want to take care of. But this time, this 5 to 9 is so important, because if you don't let this be the time that you use to build yourself, you're going to end up letting it be the time that you give right back to whatever employer, whatever job, basically whatever form of employment that you're tied to right now. It is going to literally be all given right back to them if you don't utilize it and make it so that you can actually build something for yourself. Not necessarily like an entrepreneur or a content creator, but just yourself as a person. Like, you still need a life outside of your job. Your job isn't always going to be 100% your life. It is definitely going to be a part of your life, but it doesn't have to be all of it. But anyway, that is the end of the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I know this video was kind of just random out of the blue. I feel like I really needed to make it though, because my mind was just like racing. I was at work thinking about this. I was about to clock out and I'm like, yo, I gotta film this. So hope you guys enjoy. If you guys did, I already said that. Hold on, I'm tripping. It's been a long day, bro. I just got off work. Gotta give me a break. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.